Let's start with our first news. The tension between Colby Covington and Arman is starting to heat up, and now both fighters are calling each other out in a very public way. What began as a simple claim has quickly turned into a full-blown disagreement, with both sides refusing to back down. It all started when there was talk about a potential wrestling match between the two under the RAF promotion. The idea alone got fans excited, especially considering both fighters have strong grappling backgrounds. However, things took a turn when past training sessions became the center of controversy. During a recent conference, Arman completely shut down the claims made by Colby. According to Arman, the two have never grappled before. He made it very clear that he doesn't even recall seeing Colby during his time at American Top Team. For Arman, the situation is simple. He believes the story being told is completely false. But Colby sees things very differently. After his recent win over Danis, Colby spoke in an interview and directly responded to Arman's statements. He didn't hesitate to call Arman a liar. Colby explained that the reason Arman might not acknowledge those sessions is because he was much younger at the time, still developing his skills and not yet in his prime. Colby went on to say that they did train together several years ago at American Top Team, estimating it was around 7 to 8 years back. According to him, the sessions were not competitive at all. In fact, he claimed he was levels above Arman during those grappling exchanges. He emphasized that he was able to take Arman down multiple times, suggesting a clear gap in skill during those sessions. From Colby's perspective, this isn't just opinion, it's fact. Now, with both fighters standing firm on completely opposite sides of the story, fans are left wondering what really happened behind those gym doors. Whether it's a case of different memories, personal pride, or strategic promotion, one thing is certain: the rivalry is building. And if this tension continues to grow, that proposed wrestling match under RAF might turn into something much bigger than anyone expected. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier has given his breakdown of what went wrong in Adesanya's latest performance, pointing out one key mistake that he believes completely changed the outcome of the fight. According to DC, the fight was actually going in Adesanya's favor early on, but a sudden shift in strategy opened the door for disaster. In his analysis, DC explained that Adesanya looked sharp in the opening rounds. His footwork was clean, his movement was effective, and he was doing a great job controlling the distance. In round 1 and round 2, Adesanya was fighting smart, avoiding unnecessary exchanges and making it difficult for Joe Piper to land anything significant. Joe was missing a lot early, struggling to close the distance and find his timing. This was exactly the type of fight Adesanya needed to maintain. However, everything changed when Adesanya made a critical decision that DC strongly questioned. Instead of continuing to use his movement and range, Adesanya decided to stand his ground. He began to trade in the pocket, engaging directly with a heavy-handed opponent. According to DC, this was the biggest mistake of the fight. By choosing to stand and exchange, Adesanya gave Joe the exact opportunity he needed. Joe no longer had to chase or guess. He was now in range, able to land and apply pressure. What was once a difficult fight for Joe suddenly became a winnable situation. DC emphasized that this approach played directly into Joe's strengths. The moment Adesanya abandoned his movement and chose to trade, the fight shifted. It allowed Joe to do exactly what he wanted, turning the tide in his favor. As DC pointed out, this wasn't just a small error. It was a decision that changed everything. Adesanya will likely look back at this moment and realize that sticking to his original game plan could have led to a completely different result. Following the loss, Adesanya shared his first reaction publicly, acknowledging the setback and hinting that there will be lessons learned moving forward. Despite the defeat, the focus now shifts to adjustments, improvements, and how he plans to bounce back stronger after this tough night. Move on to another news. Israel Adesanya may have made a huge mistake in his fight against Joe Piper, and it's now becoming the main talking point after a shocking finish. For a good portion of the fight, it actually looked like Adesanya was on track to silence all the doubts surrounding him. He came out looking sharp, focused, and technically sound, giving fans a glimpse of his old form. In the opening round, Adesanya was clearly in control. He outstruck Joe by a wide margin, landing clean shots while avoiding most of the incoming danger. His distance management and timing were on point, making it difficult for Joe to find any real success. Even when Joe attempted to mix in takedowns, Adesanya showed solid defense, stopping most of them and keeping the fight where he wanted. The momentum seemed to carry into round 2, but then everything suddenly changed. After a series of exchanges, Adesanya made the decision to stay in the pocket and trade shots. Instead of continuing to move and control range, he planted his feet and engaged directly. This is exactly the moment Daniel Cormier highlighted as the turning point of the fight. According to DC, this choice played perfectly into Joe's hands. Early in the fight, Joe was missing a lot of his strikes and struggling to close the distance. But once Adesanya stood in front of him, Joe no longer had to chase. He was able to reach his target, land clean punches, and build momentum. Round 2 quickly became a very different fight. Joe managed to secure takedowns, showing his ability to mix striking with grappling. He took Adesanya down twice and started landing more consistently. The numbers reflected the shift, as Joe began to close the gap and eventually take over the round. From there, the pressure only intensified. Joe unleashed a series of heavy shots that forced the referee to step in and stop the fight. What started as a promising performance for Adesanya ended in a decisive loss. Some believe Adesanya may have been trying to recreate his past success with a rope-a-dope style approach, similar to what he used before. But this time, it didn't work. Others feel that his timing and reactions may not be the same as they once were. In the end, one decision changed everything, and the night ultimately belonged to Joe Pyfer. Move on to another news. Arman has given a clear update on his next UFC fight, and it sounds like fans won't have to wait much longer to see him back inside the octagon. While there has been a lot of uncertainty surrounding his return, Arman himself seems confident about the timeline. At the moment, nothing is officially locked in, and the situation is still up in the air. Despite that, Arman has not been slowing down. He has continued to stay active, focusing heavily on wrestling and grappling, making sure he is fully prepared whenever the call comes. During a recent appearance at RAF 7, Arman spoke about his future and gave a strong indication of when he plans to return. When asked about his next fight and a potential title opportunity, his response was very direct. He made it clear that he expects to fight this summer. Not only that, but he sounded extremely confident that the fight will be for something big. According to Arman, it doesn't matter which belt is on the line, as long as it's meaningful. He emphasized that he is ready for any belt, whether it's the undisputed title or even the BMF belt. That level of confidence shows just how ready he feels at this stage of his career. Arman believes he is in his prime and prepared to take on the very best in the division. His focus remains on staying sharp and making sure that when the opportunity arrives, he delivers a statement performance. With that in mind, there has already been speculation about who his opponent could be. One of the names being discussed is Charles Oliveira, especially considering their history. A rematch between the two would make a lot of sense competitively and could easily headline a major card. However, the situation around the BMF title adds another layer of uncertainty. Interest in that belt has cooled off recently, and it's unclear whether the UFC would go in that direction or focus purely on the undisputed title picture. Regardless of who stands across from him, Arman's message is loud and clear. He is coming back this summer, he is aiming for the top, and he is ready to prove that he belongs among the elite of the lightweight division. Move on to another news. Jon Jones found himself right in the middle of a chaotic situation as he was forced to step in and break up a huge brawl during a recent face-off. The unexpected moment quickly grabbed attention, showing just how intense things can get when fighters come face-to-face. As many already know, Jon has been involved with ALF Global, a Russian-based reality show similar in concept to The Ultimate Fighter. The promotion brings together rising fighters, building tension through competition and face-offs. But this time, things went way beyond the usual stare-downs. Ahead of one of the scheduled matchups, Jon was standing between two fighters, overseeing their face-off. At first, it seemed like a normal moment, just another intense stare-down. But within seconds, the situation escalated. The fighters suddenly started throwing punches right there on the spot. What was supposed to be a controlled face-off turned into a full-on fight, catching everyone off guard. The energy instantly shifted from tense to completely out of control. Jon, being right in the middle of it, had no choice but to react immediately. Without hesitation, he stepped in and physically separated the fighters, preventing the situation from getting even worse. His quick response helped stop the chaos before it could spiral further. It was a moment that showed Jon's presence and authority as he managed to control two fighters in a heated exchange. Not everyone would be able to step into that kind of situation so confidently, especially with punches flying at close range. The clip of the incident quickly spread, with fans reacting to both the intensity of the brawl and Jon's intervention. Moments like this highlight just how unpredictable fight environments can be, especially when emotions run high. In the end, what was meant to be a simple face-off turned into a wild scene, and Jon Jones once again found himself at the center of the action, stepping up to restore order when things got out of hand. Move on to another news. New UFC fights have been officially announced, and there is some shuffling on the card that fans need to know about. Nolan King was the first to report that heavyweight Max Jimenez will now face Marcus Bucheza instead of Alan Fry Jr. This matchup is set for April 25th at a fight night in Vegas, and it promises to be an interesting clash. Max Jimenez is coming off a tough debut as he was quickly finished by Josh Hokett in his first UFC appearance this past November. Before joining the promotion, Jimenez had built some momentum, winning 4 fights in a row and showing potential as a rising heavyweight contender. Despite the setback in his debut, he remains a fighter to watch, looking to bounce back and prove he belongs in the octagon. On the other hand, Marcus Bucheza is still searching for his first UFC victory. He has faced tough competition, including a draw against Kennedy and Zachuku back in December. Bucheza also suffered a unanimous decision loss to Martin Budai, making this fight a crucial opportunity for him to break through and establish himself in the division. The matchup between Jimenez and Bucheza brings contrasting narratives. Jimenez is looking to rebound and show that his debut loss was just a temporary setback, while Bucheza is eager to secure a long-awaited victory and stop the losing streak. Both fighters will enter the cage hungry and motivated, promising an exciting showdown for fans. With this change, the Fight Night card in Vegas is shaping up to deliver some intense action. Fans can expect a heavyweight bout filled with energy, determination, and the kind of explosive moments that make UFC events so compelling. This matchup adds another layer of anticipation to the upcoming Fight Night, highlighting the unpredictable and thrilling nature of the sport. Move on to another news. Khamzat Chimaev's teammate has officially signed with the UFC, marking an exciting new chapter in his career. Abu Bakr Vagaev, who has been making waves in the MMA world for years, confirmed the news himself, putting fans on alert for his debut in the premier organization. The announcement came via social media, where Vagaev shared a post detailing his journey and expressing gratitude for the opportunity. According to his post, now that he has a contract with the UFC in hand, he is officially joining the promotion. He made it clear that his time in the ACA League has officially ended, and with that, he is relinquishing his championship reign. This decision marks the close of a significant era in his career, one that spanned 12 years and nearly 30 professional fights. During his tenure, Vagaev captured the belt 3 times, establishing a legacy that will be remembered in the league's history. In his statement, Vagaev expressed deep appreciation for the organization, thanking them for understanding his situation and being accommodating during the transition. He also highlighted the important role that Khamzat Chimaev played in helping him secure the UFC contract, showing the strong bond and mentorship between teammates. The support of a champion like Chimaev has been crucial in navigating the complexities of making the jump to the world's biggest MMA stage. Marcel Dorf shared Vagaev's post on social media, amplifying the news and noting how fascinating it will be to see how Vagaev performs in the UFC. Fans are already speculating about his potential matchups, his style, and how quickly he can make an impact in the organization. With his experience, championship pedigree, and connection to Chimaev, expectations are high for what he can accomplish in the octagon. As Vagaev prepares for this new chapter, the excitement around his debut continues to grow. His signing not only strengthens the UFC roster, but also adds another fighter with proven skills and championship experience. The journey from the ACA League to the UFC represents both a challenge and an opportunity, and Abu Bakr Vagaev is ready to prove himself on the biggest stage in MMA. Fans can expect fireworks when he finally steps inside the octagon and showcases why he belongs among the elite.